Hi, I'm Jason Sterling. I'm a member of the EA Creator Network, and today we have Adventure. Adventure awaits you guys. The new expansion pack for The Sims 4, and a brand new trailer to support that pack with two of my favorite people starring in it, Dexter and his best friend Chucky. Now, this trailer starts off with a typical family in a typical backyard doing typical things, and Mom's typical best friend, also known as that bitch, whispers in her ear, hey, Dexter's going to end up on TV for all the wrong reasons if you don't do something. Now, Dexter can hear her, but he doesn't care because he's having a lot of fun with his best friend till the end, Chucky. And Chucky's a real boy. Shh, don't tell. So Mom decides that maybe her best friend, the bitch, actually is right, and maybe Dexter could use some therapy. But instead of going to therapy, she sends him to camp. So he and Chucky can meet a whole bunch of new victims. Friends. So he and Chucky can meet a whole bunch of new friends. Okay, that's the start of this particular trailer talk. Today we're going to look at Adventure Awaits. We're going to go through the whole trailer here. We're going to pause before we go to camp, you guys, and take a look at the backyard. And we're going to look at what is really shaping up to be with this trailer, the hit of this pack. And that is all of the great new sort of items. The stuff, the build by stuff, most of it is geared towards kids. The sort of new gameplay stuff that we're seeing in this trailer is geared towards kids. This definitely feels like from this trailer, to be honest, that this is a kids pack, that this was maybe a kids camp game pack, like maybe a kids sort of day camp or camp game pack. And they went ahead and fleshed it out a little bit here at the end of this trailer, maybe at the end of this pack, to make it more broad-based and turned it into an expansion pack. You can see a lot of the big long-term requests here. We've got a pool slide. We've got a standard diving board instead of a diving platform. We've got what are you going to call him? The invisible friend or the secret friend. Chucky there, the little doll, right? That the little boy, is his best friend. So a lot of those things like that are coming up, and there's a lot more at camp, have been big. Well, God, people have been asking for the diving board literally since we got the diving platform, and that was like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. So a long, long, long time. But hey, if you keep pestering Mom will finally give you what you want, right? And we finally got what we wanted. All we had to do was throw a fit for 10 years. Okay, so Dexter here and Chucky, they're going to camp Gibby. A Man After Midnight. That is an ABBA reference because I know all the people down there, they love ABBA. I don't really know that. I that's what I learned from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, was that they all love ABBA. That was not only my gay primer, okay, but also that movie tied with Mad Max and Muriel's Wedding taught me everything there is to know about Australia. Now, you may be thinking right about now, well, Jason, I heard this was New Zealand. Yeah, I heard it was New Zealand too. But the only movie I know about New Zealand is The Hobbit. And I think that was a historical documentary and that maybe all the Hobbits have died out by now. So it's not exactly accurate anymore. Plus, hey, EA, when you like culturally ambiguous worlds, this is what you get. You get me kind of saying that New Zealand is Australia and Australia is defined by a couple of comedies and a post-apocalyptic horror. But camp's not a post-apocalyptic horror. No, it's a lot of fun. As you can see, as we go through the biggest camp cabin I have ever seen here, there's a lot of stuff to do at camp. There was a ton of new items here, a ton of new items. I saw like a Rubik's Cube, a new video game, paper airplanes, and of course, just a ton of new build by objects. And we have Dexter and Chucky here, and they're doing a little dance. They're dancing at camp. I think that's what you do at camp is dance. I do think that. I only know that because I saw another movie once called Drama Camp, and they did dance there. Now, in that movie, all of the campers were gay, and they were all adults. But, hey, I think it still counts. And I've never been to camp, so I'm just guessing. I have to go by my experience, and my experience comes from movies. So my experience in this case is that when you're at camp, you dance. And if no one else is dancing, just grab your best friend till the end, Chucky, and dance with him. And they are best friends until this new chick comes up. And she wants to be best friends now. And of course, Dexter's a little uneasy and he's a little unsure. But Chucky says, that's okay. We can all be friends. Just so long as you know that when she becomes a problem, we get rid of her. Now, all the stuff here does look really, really great. I'm going to repeat that again, probably a couple more times for this video because, like I said, the big star to me so far with this trailer, now there could be more coming, right? There could. But Maxis has a real issue, I think, with that in that they always show a trailer and you're like, well, part of it looks good. But where's the rest, right? I don't know why they do it that way, but they do. Anyway, it does look good, like the build buy stuff and these sort of new interactions and new sort of things that kids can do. It's so kid-centric, and we don't have a lot of stuff for kids. We also don't have a lot of stuff for teens, but we don't have a lot of stuff for kids, and this is really going to flesh them out. In fact, as we can see here, things like this new jungle gym, which is incredible. I love it. I've seen a lot of people saying, I kind of feel this way just a little bit, that I would spend $40 just for this. I wouldn't really, but I do love it. And it is super cool. It's modular. So you have all these different pieces that kind of connect and stick together to create a larger unit. And let's face it, I was about to say who didn't grow up with this. There could be people watching maybe more of a boomer age range and they didn't, but this is so typical for so long, so many decades, that I do think it's going to be a real kind of touchstone with a lot of people. Bring back a lot of memories from childhood. And so I love it. It looks like it comes in like a ton of colors. So I totally love that. And I just love the idea. This is going to remake all of my parks and backyards in The Sims 4. So it's awesome. And a pretty good example, again, of the stuff in this pack. Is this a $40 stuff pack? Maybe. Is it worth $40 for a stuff pack? Well, I don't know. We'll see as we get to the end. Maybe not. Maybe not. One thing that's cool here, you can see you can use so many different activities on this jungle gym, including the slides. I'm going to hope that this is not Max's marketing magic and that kids can actually race down the slides. Because when you have those dual slides like that, that's usually pretty common with kids. Let's race. Let's see who gets to the bottom of the slide first. So they don't actually, they kind of show it, but they also kind of show it in a way that looks like maybe it was just set up to tell a story. You can't really do it in the game, but you can tell a story like you did it, right? That's kind of what it looks like. You also get this new sort of like rock, paper, scissors, which is a game that a lot of kids play. I don't know how spread across the world it is. It's pretty ubiquitous here in the United States. So you have like a rock, a piece of paper, and scissors, right? And you do like this, and then you throw one of them up, like either a rock, scissors, or paper. And the other person does the same thing. And let's say Let's say Dexter's new friend does paper, right? And Dexter does scissors, because scissors cut. And so scissors do cut paper. So she loses, right? And Chucky's super thrilled that she lost because that means she gets to play for another day since Dexter won, because Dexter always gets to win with Chucky. He does always get to win. Okay? Always. And Dexter decides they should play another game. Let's play Hide the Body. That's Dexter's favorite game, is Hide the Body. And it's the sort of thing that primes you for adulthood. That's what he's telling all of his friends. And you know who told him that? Chucky told him that. If you want to be ready to be a grown-up, you've got to learn how to hide the body. So Dexter hides his body first. Uh-oh, it looks like the guy playing the policeman found Dexter. Oopsie, you're going to have to try a little bit harder next time, Dex. But then Dexter's new friend, that girl who doesn't have a name, because Chucky won't let her have a name, you guys, she wants to play her favorite game. She wants to play the Hunger Games, the true story of the decline of America. And so she shows Dexter how to play the Hunger Games. And then Dexter grows up into a real man, and he and Chucky get a job where they can practice their hobby, camp director. And that's pretty much where we close out that segment, right? And that's about half of the trailer, maybe more than half of the trailer. And that's on purpose, because what we just saw was really the focus of the pack. Dexter and Chucky, because they're the most fun characters ever put into The Sims 4, and all of the great stuff for kids. Again, there at the end, we saw hide and go seek. It'll be interesting to see just how extensive that is and where all you can hide. I'm going to say right now, if the only place you can hide is under that box, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. right? There needs to be this option where you can go hide all over the place, including like a closet, right? So if you have closets from get together, you should be able to hide in the closet, stuff like that. I would say I'd also be pretty disappointed if Dexter there couldn't accidentally end up with an arrow through the heart, but that's not going to happen because The Sims 4 is T for teen, you guys, and that's more of an M for mature type of interaction. But I do hope that the archery skill feels a little bit real. It looks fun in the trailer, in the teaser, and in this trailer. But so far, all we've seen is shooting that target and an apple. That's probably all we're getting. I mean, I would love if you could shoot a tree, or maybe if you can even shoot something around the house, like maybe one of the vases that breaks, right, from Business and Hobbies. Like if you shot the arrow in the house, it hits a vase, it breaks the vase, you get in trouble. That's pretty realistic, and utilizing the stuff that you could have in game. That's also very, very hopeful on my part, and I don't think it's going to happen. Now, there is an additional part, of course, to this trailer, like I touched on earlier. I feel like this is started as a kids camping, like camp game pack. And then the thought probably became, hey, let's expand it into an expansion pack, and we'll turn it into sort of a getaway instead of a vacation. A getaway pack, we're going to touch on that at the end, but a getaway pack, by kind of fleshing out in a way that would include adults into the mix. I didn't really see any families included, but I'm going to assume, based on some of the marketing, especially the wording, on the EA site, that you could create a getaway and venues that would work for families. Like maybe it wouldn't take a lot of adjustments here to Camp Gimme a Man After Midnight to incorporate both exercise and Love Island, right? And Love Island into that mix. I mean, Disney World does it all the time, so I'm sure I could do it here. Just send the kids off to bed and then get your ass on over there to Love Island. Get yourself some fun. And we're about to go to Love Island, but first, Mommy Dearest here is trapped in both a family and a life that hates her. But she has a secret friend, too. Her secret friend is Margarita, Miss Margarita. But today, the sweet lady in a tall frosty glass just isn't doing it for Mommy. And she's starting to think she needs to run to the store and get some milk for about the next 20 years. But instead, she's going to go on, not vacation, you guys. She's going to go on a getaway. She's going to go on a getaway. And where is she going? To the gym. To the gym. Really? You're going to go to the gym? I mean, I'm looking around your house. You are worked to death, and you're going to go to the gym to get away from that? Oh, hey, I got a good idea, Mom. Why don't you, in order to relax, just go get a second job? Yeah, just go get a second job. That's a really great idea. And get it at a fast food place. That'll be a lot of fun for you. I don't get that. And let me tell you something right now. Spoiler alert. Spoiler. Shh. No spoilers. They've got Love Island theme park in this town, and she chose the gym. Okay, she could literally go to Love Island, bang like everybody there. That's like exercise. And it's a lot of fun. Well, it's a lot of fun until you start burning down there, But guess what? I got a VD clinic over in Everdew. She can just drop in anytime. But she doesn't do that. She drops into the gym. She exercises her ass off literally all day long. And then to reward all of her hard work, she has a glass of blended up frogs, probably also from Everdew. They love to eat frogs over in Innisgreen, alive. Just drop them in the blender alive, grind them up, drink it down. Yummy, yummy. So anyway, that's what she has as a reward for all of her efforts. And I'm not kidding. I mentioned that the bitch, Mom's best friend at the start of this particular trailer, thinks Dexter needs therapy. No. This poor woman needs therapy. This woman needs an intervention, and I mean a major one, like bring Oprah out of retirement, get her down here to hold this woman's hand, hold both of her hands, and cry for about an hour. Get it all out, because when you are drinking that glass of thick green goo, girl, you got demons. But no more time for tears. As you can see here, we've got some new exercise equipment, exercise bikes, and free weights. Again, a couple of long-term requests by the community, especially free weights. I've seen that over and over again. That's about it, though. I think that's about it for the stuff coming. Well, there's one more thing. There's one more thing coming up. No spoilers. There's one more thing coming up over on Love Island, but those have been big request items as well. Those 2 items. So that's thrown in here if you want to make a getaway at the gym. But instead, we're going to drop in here with Thelma and Louise, and they have had it with this man. And their first idea is to call up Dexter and Chucky and have them come over and practice on this guy for a while. But rather than risk prison, they decided to go ahead and go to Love Island. And you guys, all joking aside, like, I've seen Love Island. Just choose prison. Just take the prison, because at the end of the day, you're still going to get to bang everybody. And I think you'll probably meet a higher class of people at prison. But they don't do that. They go to Love Island and they bang everybody, or I guess, pretty much everybody. That guy in green, they do not bang him because he's got a secret friend too, you guys. In fact, he's got a lot of secret friends on Grindr, all with no profile pic because they're discreet. And something tells me there's a few discreet guys here at Love Island too. So they, pretty much bang everybody in that line there. And then I think maybe each other as well. And then they decide, let's just get rid of this guy, and they eliminate him because you're going to have the opportunity to play your own real Love Island somehow. I don't know how. I can't wait to hear this in the gameplay trailer. And a lot of the value of this pack is going to hinge on the stuff we don't know, right? It is going to hinge on the stuff we don't know. But apparently the idea is that he's going to get eliminated in some sort of competition-esque idea. Again, I think this is what I think. I think it's going to end up being a lot like a date with a little timer. And there's going to be a sequence of things you need to do with this guy. And if they don't succeed, then he'll be eliminated. I really think that's about how it's going to go. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. There's supposed to be some sort of other options with that. Like, I think cooking's one I saw pop up. And also in the trailer, it looks like they've built sort of a pancake kitchen, maybe. So I do think that's going to be part of it. And that is kind of what we got going here. The thing that was most interesting about this particular segment was that we have in-ground hot tubs. Except we don't actually know they're in-ground, because this trailer purposely shows them in a dock, right? Which looks a little bit like a sort of foundation, doesn't it? Like it's raised up off the ground. So it could be a sort of hot tub that looks like it's an in-ground hot tub when you place it on a foundation of some sort, like a raised foundation or a dock. We really don't know. It does at least give the appearance of that. I would prefer a fully true, real in-ground hot tub as opposed to sort of Costco hot tubs we have right now. Which, Costco hot tubs are fine. I don't have a hot tub. I would take a Costco one. But they're the kind that sit in your backyard, like on the ground or on a patio or something, and it looks like an afterthought because it was an afterthought. And, when it's built into the ground, it's a little more elegant, a little more sophisticated, a little more like it was meant as part of the design scheme, right? And that's pretty much the end of the trailer. Those last 2 segments were very, very quick. And like I said, the segments felt tacked on to the trailer, and I think that's because that idea was kind of amalgamated, with something else, with a game pack maybe or something to turn this into an expansion pack. The expansion pack has a lot of great stuff in it. Like, I really loved a lot of the stuff in here for kids. I really love all the interactions for the kids. I don't know that alone is worth $40. Depending on your entertainment budget, you might think it is. I mean, you might, because there is a lot there. There's a lot of new kind of interactive items and gameplay type of items and gameplay type of interactions there. We really don't know anything about this new mechanism for Create a Getaway, and we don't know anything about the custom venues. I feel like we kind of already have custom venues in a way with small business. Yes, with small business, you have to actually own the venue, and in this case, you wouldn't necessarily have to own it. So that is a change that would be for the better, or kind of for the better, in my opinion. But we don't know what all we can do. And here's my fear. Here's my fear with Create a Getaway and Create a Custom Venue. When we did Create a Date, most of the stuff you could make a date with was limited to base game. There was only maybe 2 or 3 items that you could create your date with that came from anything but the base game. And all the base game stuff felt pretty boring because we've done it for so long. And it felt a little bit like a waste because, like, when I was thinking of Create a Date early on, before we knew how it worked, I thought, hey, let's send them bowling, right? Let's send them to the spa on a day. Let's do this, let's do that. And you just couldn't do it. So it's going to be real interesting to see what we can do with create a getaway. And also, does create a getaway mean overnight? How does overnight work? Because I have seen a few people already commenting, hey, oh my God, this is like hotels and resorts. This is just almost exactly like that. And you can create your own getaway and stop short. To me, if we can actually create bedrooms and places to sleep, and yes, I know the kids camp gives that impression, doesn't it? There's all those bunk beds. So it definitely gives the impression that the kids can go there on an overnight. The one thing it doesn't give you is a shot of the nighttime. It doesn't give you a shot of those kids actually sleeping there. And Max's marketing magic has burned us before with showing stuff in trailers that ends up not really being true. So now if we can do that, if we can establish sleeping areas and set them for specific Sims, so you don't just have random adults and random kids sleeping in random beds all the time, that'd be great. Yeah, then I'm going to be really thrilled. I know what you're thinking is, well, we saw Love Island and it was at night. And it was at night. We didn't see anybody stay overnight on Love Island. I can make a nightclub right now with a hot tub in it. And in fact, I have. So, in fact, bathhouses used to have hot tubs in them. Yeah. And swimming pools. They did. And that was kind of like a getaway. That definitely was a getaway. I'm sure it was. I've never been to one, but I've seen like articles and videos and stuff on it. And that definitely was a getaway, you guys. So if a bathhouse can have a hot tub, which, must have been nasty. But if it can have a hot tub in a swimming pool, and it had rooms that you could rent for yourself and maybe 10 of your brand new friends there at the bathhouse to go play cards and read the Bible in. That they could have rooms like that. I'm sure that we should have rooms like that in the game, right? Sure, of course we should. So anyway, that's my point though, is it doesn't actually show anybody staying overnight. It shows a late night interaction at Love Island, which, like I said, that could be a theme park. That could just be some sort of setup where adults go to hang out like a nightclub or like a lounge. Good point. We're supposed to have 2 new careers. I'm going to assume it's camp director and park ranger. In fact, I think that's what I said on EA's site. The interesting thing, it also does show something that could have been a career, but I'm not even sure it's even a real interaction. And that is this sort of like spin class leader, this idea of a sort of trainer or gym trainer, an exercise trainer who's going to lead this class in bicycling. I don't know if that's real. It certainly shows it in the trailer and it shows it in the teaser. So it gives this strong impression it's real, but you could also maybe mimic that by just turning one bicycle to face everybody else. I do think that he and she, there was a guy and a girl, I think, do look like they're doing different interactions to encourage people to bike. So hopefully it's real, but I guess that's not a career. It would have been maybe nice if it had been a career. But I do know in a lot of ways that's what this is kind of hinging on. The value of this pack based on this trailer is how extensive and how well done and how well integrated with the other 100 odd packs or whatever we have now is Create a Getaway and Create a Venue going to be. And are we going to be able to easily overnight at our resort, or are we going to be expected to fall back on the same old rental system? The last thing to address here, and there may be a world trailer coming up, is the world itself. I kind of joked about this already. This is New Zealand. How do we know it's New Zealand? Because in like the teaser and the trailer, there's a little blue bird that is only found in New Zealand. And that's about the only way that I could tell looking at this map, or the pictures of this world, right? What we're looking at, that this is New Zealand. So at the end of the day, there's nothing here that tells me this is New Zealand. Just like there was nothing really in a screen that said Ireland. There was nothing in Ravenwood that said Romania. Is that what's Romania, right? And I don't even remember the name of the world for business and hobbies. I think it was supposed to be based off of kind of Amsterdam, maybe. Yeah. No. Again, aside from these sort of basic sort of build elements that they slap on the front of a house in some of those packs, I don't know what was supposed to make those areas, those parts of the world, but that is culturally ambiguous. It's also boring. It's also boring. Out of those 4 worlds I mentioned, there are 2 neighborhoods total out of those 4 worlds that I liked. Everdew and Morningvale, because they're actually different. They're actually different. Yet another village, especially a fishing village, we really don't need in the game. Are there that many people just dying to go to another clone of a fishing village? I just can't believe that there are. And I can absolutely guarantee you, like, I'm not going to use whatever the neighborhood is called that has the fishing village in Innisgreen, because I don't even remember. I remember Everdew, because that's where I did all of my building and all my play, was Everdew. I don't know what that neighborhood's called. I won't remember what this neighborhood is called, and I will never use them. If I want that sort of neighborhood, I'll go to Brindleton Bay, because we had it, and we've had it there for a long time. It's already one thing down in sort of the value equation for me personally. That's one thing down, is that I just don't feel like, okay, it's New Zealand. How do I know it's New Zealand? I don't know. We're going to have some more trailers coming up, a whole lot more information. I hope a whole lot more information, and I hope that it really sells me on this pack. I am sold on this pack from the first half of this trailer with the kids part. I am. I really, really like it. I love that part, in fact. We're going to finish on that high note. And what we're going to find out coming up in future trailers, please hit like, subscribe, and notify so that as we go through those future trailers and find out more information, I'll go through that as well. Also, in the meantime, we have other stuff going. I'm going to start building for this pack. It's never too early to build. It's going to be my new live stream series. It's never too early to build. And we are going to start building stuff for this pack. I'm just going to build something like a resort. I'm going to build like a resort hotel is one of the things I'm going to build. I'm going to build some kind of, some fun houses, some houses. I did a lot of research on Australia and New Zealand housing. Not really Australia. I'm going to be honest. I actually just focused on New Zealand for housing. I was just really surprised, though, because it was very reminiscent of some of the housing I've seen in Australia. So from that standpoint, I think of it that way. But I did focus on New Zealand when I was kind of researching New Zealand floor plans and housing and stuff like that. And so we're going to do some of that too, and it's never too early to build live streaming between now and the launch of that pack. And like I said, there'll be more videos like this as we get more trailers and more information. So again, please hit like, subscribe, and notify. And like always, thanks for watching.